Hello, today is June 14th, 2020. I am 21 years old, and this is the day that I'm graduating from Dartmouth. And this video will be, I think there's two goals to this video. The first is to kind of reflect on and document my thoughts on my college experience. And the second is to sort of act as a snapshot of my mental state now. And hopefully, if you're watching this in the future, it'll be interesting to see what I was like in 2020. So I have a list of topics that I wanted to talk about, and we'll see, basically just go over my college experience and give my general thoughts on things that are important to me. So first I'll start off with a timeline of sort of my college experience. So freshman year, I remember when I first got to Dartmouth, I really wanted to be one of those finance guys on Wall Street. That's what I told my mom. I just wanted to make money and make sure going to Dartmouth was worth the high tuition. And when I first got to Dartmouth, I had two goals. I wanted to be on club tennis, and I wanted to be in an a cappella group. Unfortunately, I didn't make any of those. But I did join a lot of other clubs. So I think freshman year, I was very involved in several things. So I did like Dartmouth Finance Society. I was vice president. So I thought it was so great. The officers in the Finance Society would say like, oh, I'm interning at Goldman Sachs or whatever, and I would really look up to them. But then my freshman winter, I became a vice president, and I did like literally nothing. So I kind of lost some respect for the people there. I also did a lot of other clubs. I think I did like, I did like business journal. What else? I don't remember what else, but I remember like having to go to some sort of meeting like every day or every other day. My freshman winter, I joined the fencing team, the club fencing team at Dartmouth. And that was a pretty good way for me to make friends and learn about fencing, which I hadn't done before. We went to nationals that year, and I competed, and that was great. We won second place in club nationals, and I think I made a lot of friends through fencing, and I'm pretty grateful for that experience. Also through fencing, I met, I guess I'll consider like my first serious girlfriend. We dated into my senior spring. Started senior, my freshman spring. She was a senior, it was her senior spring. I look back fondly on that experience. It didn't work out, but I think it was a good experience. For my freshman summer, I worked a bit as an intern at it's called the Armed Forces Benefits Association, which is like an insurance company. But in reality, all I did was I just went to work and then got on Messenger, like chatted with my friends who were also at their joke internships, and then we just like chatted online all day. But I did, after that internship, and ended a little bit early, I did work for Protago Labs, which I still am in touch with today. Basically, they make a lot of artificial intelligence products, and it was my first experience learning about artificial intelligence and deep learning. So I took Andrew Ng's deep learning course on Coursera, and I think that really, I think that was my passion, at least today. I foresee it being my career. So I'm very grateful to have had that introduction. My sophomore year, I learned a lot more about machine learning that fall. So I remember taking a pretty rigorous course load, and yeah, I basically learned a little bit more, building my foundation in machine learning. And then that winter, so in December, I went with my friend Kevin Yang and some others to Iceland. Iceland was beautiful. I think the most eventful thing there was like we got in like sort of a small car accident. So we were driving through like some snowstorm, and I think Kevin was driving too quickly. So I like had an argument with him to tell him to drive slow, and he was like, "Nah, it's fine." And essentially, we got like blown off the road. And in Iceland, the roads are like kind of curved off. So had we been on a bigger cliff, we probably would have not cliff, but like a bigger hill, we probably would have rolled. But luckily, no one was hurt. So yeah, I liked Iceland a lot, other than the car accident. And then that spring, sophomore spring, I worked for Oracle. So there's like a small Oracle office near Dartmouth, and I got the internship through someone who came in to speak in my machine learning class from Oracle, and that's pretty good. I learned a little bit more about machine learning, and yeah, that spring I also joined, I guess like a co-ed fraternity or Greek house called Tabard. It's known as one of the more mysterious Greek houses on campus, but I think I wanted to join because I had a friend from the fencing team who was on there, and yeah, I was just really intrigued by, wanted to know what was going on, and I think it would be a good experience for me overall. So yeah, I joined Tabard. I don't think I really fit in, but I did have some friends, and got to take on new perspectives from people who I normally probably wouldn't talk to. And that spring, for spring break, I went to Australia with my friend June. That was a lot of fun, Australia and New Zealand. And then that sophomore summer, I rushed Tri-kap, which is a fraternity on campus. And yeah, it was a lot of fun getting to meet the brothers, and probably spent too many nights just hanging out for no reason, but I think I look back on it very fondly. Junior year, that fall I studied in Denmark. I think studying abroad was probably one of the biggest like eye-opening experiences for me, because yeah, basically I was put in like a new environment. Nothing in my past mattered, and I got to sort of experience like Danish culture and travel all around Europe with my good friend Prahlad. And yeah, I think I'm still very fond of the Danish culture. So I think they are very content, and they have a culture built on trust, and it's not as competitive. So yeah, I remember. Yeah, I was sort of feeling very, very happy while I was there because of being influenced by this culture. And then when I came back to like competitive America, and very quickly resumed the American mindset. Okay, and then that winter I stayed at home, and I mostly just worked on research. Both with Protago Labs, I published, I would say, my first pretty good paper on data augmentation and NLP. Which took about 1 month. And then I also had my first paper on lung cancer classification published, which was pretty good for me too. And then in the spring, I went back to campus. I went to my first machine learning conference, iClear, which was a lot of fun. And I remember that term I also went to Montreal with the Tri-kap Brotherhood, and that was also a lot of fun. Junior summer and fall, I was in SF. So that was also a pretty big experience for me, I would say. So I worked at Blend in the summer, and DoorDash in the fall. So I liked Blend a lot, in terms of, like I learned a lot from my mentor, Danny Hermes, who I still look up to a lot. Uh, and yeah, I think it was a really good experience to be able to live on the West Coast. SF has a very big tech culture, so I think while I was there, I sort of didn't do any research and just got caught up in like the tech recruiting scene, where you sort of just grind out these problems, and everyone sort of has some competition of like who's working at the best company and what benefits you have and how much you get paid, which I don't think is for me, but is I think really quite a good lifestyle. Yeah, at least compared to maybe some other professions. Um, yeah. Yes. And that fall, I went to EMNLP in Hong Kong, my first NLP conference, which was a lot of fun. And I also, my brother published his first paper on data augmentation in terms of medical images. And hi, Molly.
我去买菜。
Okay. And yeah, he was giving the talk at the workshop called the Machine Learning for Health workshop at NeurIPS, and it was for me it was a very surreal experience to see, your kid brother, 16 years old, who had happened to have written like I guess I would say a pretty good paper, giving a talk in front of like I would say 500 people, who were all like probably knew more than me and him, and yeah, to be able to see like your own kid brother do that and to have been a part of like making that experience happen was very powerful for me. Yeah, so senior year, I got into grad school. So I applied to Stanford, MIT, UW, CMU, Princeton, USC, Cambridge, and Oxford. I got into the master's programs at Cambridge, Oxford, and CMU, and I got into the PhD program at USC. Yeah, I was probably going to accept the PhD program at USC for two reasons. First, the advisor was just amazing, Naeun Peng. And second, I think LA would be a really, really good place to spend your 20s in. So this spring, I was very fortunate to get an AI residency offer from Google, which is sort of like a pre-PhD research experience for 12 to 18 months at Google New York, working on NLP. And also, I had an offer from my thesis advisor, Lorenzo, to come to work with him at Facebook on video understanding. Yeah, that was a pretty big, it was only after I got these offers that I really felt like a little bit more confident or satisfied in what I had been doing in research. Yeah, I'm very grateful. Yeah, I think, so I accepted the Google offer. We'll see if it doesn't get canceled because of COVID, but I think Google offers like $189K total compensation over 1 year, and then the Facebook one I think was $85 an hour, which is I think was pretty good, and my mom is finally happy. Yeah, so I wrote some other things here to talk about briefly. So first, I said elaborate on your overall experience on these topics. So first, fraternities. Yeah, I think Dartmouth is really quite special in the fraternity system because there's so many fraternities and so many people who are affiliated. Really, like the normal person could be in a fraternity, and it gave me like a good avenue to develop socially and to get better social skills, and also to have a set place where I could have a college experience in a social group. Yeah. Traveling abroad, yeah, I think that was probably the biggest, most significant experience for me in college. Yeah, being in Denmark yeah, I'm still very interested in Danish culture. Research, yeah, I think I'm very glad to have found passion in research. I hope that I'm still doing research in the foreseeable future or the rest of my life. But if not, I think that's okay. And as long as I find something that is impactful and that I'm passionate about, yeah. Uh, in terms of lifting, I began my lifting journey uh, in while I was in Denmark. So inspired by my friend Pralad. And when I first started, I was quite weak, could not bench 95 pounds. But I think I want to say after about 6 to 8 months, I hit my max of 200 pounds on the bench press, which was a big day for me. Um, I think I probably almost weighed like 160 that day when I benched 200, compared with like I think I weighed like less than 130 before. And then, uh, but the lifting journey did not come without its challenges. So I think I had IT band syndrome very early on, so I didn't really squat. And then one time I played tennis after I had gained like 30 pounds on my upper body, and then hadn't really done any leg exercises. So I think that caused the meniscus tear, which I had a surgery for in November. And then just yesterday, actually, I was playing tennis again, and I think I might have torn my meniscus again, but we'll see. Um, yeah, and then digital minimalism. I'm very inspired by Cal Newport's books, Deep Work and Digital Minimalism. So, trying to live a more mindful life. For me, that kind of means being more focused in the moment and not being so distracted. For example, I don't have Messenger on my phone, and I don't. I try to keep my phone in the kitchen whenever possible. Okay, how did I change from the beginning of college to the end of college? So I think in the beginning of college, yeah, I was really, I think coming out of TJ, I was really quite smart, and you know, I sort of knew that I wanted to make a lot of money. I was ready to work hard, and I knew how to do it. I think that was a pretty good place to start. But I think now I'm a little bit uh, more mature. I know I have this passion for AI research. Uh, I'm more open to thinking about new ideas and trying new things. I think freshman year I definitely identified as a very practical person and logical, whereas now I think I aim to be more creative. Yeah. Um, This next question I wrote for myself asks about goals and how I felt when I achieved them. So yeah, this is, I think, really quite funny that when you're working towards a goal, it seems to be the most important thing. And then when you achieve the goal, it feels great, maybe for a couple of days or a week if it's a big goal. But then after that, I really feel nothing. So for me, the biggest goals that I achieved sort of through throughout college were, when I first got my blend offer, uh, 8.5K a month. I thought that was really quite good, and I was going to be rich. And then my first paper on lung cancer, I think like more than 10 news sources, not big ones, but news sources had reported on it, so I was pretty happy about that. My first EMNLP paper I was very happy about. Yeah, I felt I was so happy at work that day, even though I didn't tell anyone because no one knew what EMNLP was. But yeah, that was very happy. Grad school, yeah, when I first got into Cambridge, it was like a kind of some insurance that I could go somewhere for grad school, and I was very happy. And then next when I got into CMU, it was pretty good, but at the end when I got into Oxford, it felt like nothing. It just felt like getting a regular email. And then getting the Google offer was really, sort of giving me some security in my research career. So I think before I had always looked up to people who had worked at Google or Facebook and put them on some sort of pedestal because I hadn't been able to get like a Google or Facebook internship. But after I got this experience, I don't really see it as a big deal anymore. And I feel more comfortable with myself, at least career-wise. One goal that I did not achieve at Dartmouth was getting a girlfriend. I'd really hoped to do that, but I think it was just hard both to meet girls at Dartmouth and also because I was pretty much in a different place every term to maintain any sort of relationship. My overall review of Dartmouth, I think, is really quite positive. I think it's great that it's a small school, so you kind of get this liberal arts experience where, going in, I thought liberal arts was stupid. Like, if I'm going to be a CS major, why do I care about taking like some literature class? But I really think in the long run, it's probably worth it to have some of those experiences. I think the frats were quite good for me in getting to meet people and having a default social group. CS is really not very good at Dartmouth. There's very few machine learning opportunities, but I think Dartmouth does have more opportunities, research opportunities for undergrads than probably most other schools. Even though you're probably not working with the world's leading professor on something, but it's very easy for an undergraduate to get direct access to working with a professor at Dartmouth. I think that was probably pretty good. I don't know, had I gone to Stanford, whether I would have been able to work with a professor that I wanted to work with on a topic that I was interested in. So what are my goals for the next 5, 10, and 20 years? I hope in the next 5 years I'll have at least one big paper in deep learning and have some idea of where I want to go with my career. In 10 years, I really hope to be married and to have a good idea of what I want to do with life. And in 20 years, I hope to have kids and have some stable life that that I find fulfilling. The next question I wrote was, how was your relationship with your family? So I think my parents divorced when I was a sophomore, I believe. And in terms of 100 divorces, I don't think it was anywhere near one of the worst ones. But I think we're all in a better place now. I have a very good relationship with my mom. I think she understands me quite well and is a very good mother. I talk to my dad less frequently, especially now because of this COVID. We can't really visit each other, but I think I understand him a little bit more as a person. And my brother is still growing, but I'm very proud of him, and I'm confident that he will mature into a very, very nice young man. And the last question I put here is, who are the last 10 people that you texted? So I wrote it down because I'm filming on my phone, so I wrote down Jeffrey Shah, Abhishek Bhargava, John Sullivan, and Prahlad Sharma, my mom, Jerry Wei, William Lee, Jerry Liu, Ife Yan, Joshua Levy, and Matthew Wu. So that's my video. I hope it wasn't too long and that it was interesting for you to see what I'm like in 2020.